Hello everybody, this is my Moldavite video part 2, Moldavite experience. When I started off with Moldavite, I immediately felt, as I said in the previous video, much more positive. And now it's been 3 months and I feel much more solidified in this positivity and mainly in my beliefs. I've had very spiritual beliefs for quite some time now. Long ago, I used to be an atheist until it was quantum physics that switched me over into the belief sort of phase of my life. I found that in quantum physics, these particles mimic life. And if these particles, at the most minute level of our comprehension, mimic life, all is life. Everything is life. And this has been my major belief for quite a few years now, that everything is alive. Everything is life. And well, I wasn't quite solidified in this belief. At least if you would have asked me then, I would have said yes. But now, after Moldavite has come into my life, I feel quite more solidified in this belief and much more tranquil about it. Moldavite, the feelings I get from Moldavite, the people like to talk about the effects of Moldavites when you feel them. I found at first, when I first tried them, as I said in my previous video, it took me a while to get some sort of feeling from them. And well, this went on. Once I started getting some feeling from them, I found that Moldavite, you have to be in tune to it. You don't always. Sometimes, even after that first time that I did get like the good buzz off of it, I found that many other times I didn't get such a good buzz off of it until I became more in tune with it over the months. I have meditated with it regularly from the start, and that has not stopped. And well, I found that now when you're more in tune with it, it's kind of like I could almost concentrate on it and activate its effects. And the effects it has had on me has been what I call a solidifying effect. I am much more tranquil about myself and my beliefs, and much more acceptant. The world in general is something I've become much more acceptant of. I used to be very critical of the world and all the ill that is in the world. I was incomprehensible. It was incomprehensible to me how everyone was not striving for the best they could be, how there were people that were sort of trapped in materialism, trapped in ill thoughts, trapped in all the ills of life. And well, now I am much more complacent with it. The world's a big place. There are many people in it. And there must be people of all shapes, forms, and sizes. True that our trends right now in society, our trends are very destructive. And well, all I have to say is we're just coming out of the Kali Yuga. For those of you that know about the Great Year, the precession of the equinox is also divided into the Great Year. The Greeks used to call it the Iron Age, the Bronze Age, the Silver Age, and the Golden Age. That's how the Greeks used to divide it, and the Hindus divided it into the Kali Yuga, which is the only one I remember of those names. I remember the Kali Yuga because it is the Iron Age, the most difficult age of all to surpass, and that's what we've just come out of. We've just gone through World War I and World War II not so long ago, and those were the repercussions of the Kali Yuga, of the Iron Age, in the Industrial Age. They met there somehow, and well, we were out of the Iron Age according to some. According to some, we left the Iron Age in the Renaissance. The Renaissance was the initiation of the Bronze Age, where it's more thought, contemplation, not yet quite as spiritual as the Silver and the Golden Age, Although from the Bronze Age, I believe that many of us can see what the Golden Age will be. We can at least start to feel it. Whereas in the Iron Age, we're just totally secluded and segregated from all thought of spirituality and deeper inner meaning. The Iron Age is the most materialistic of all ages, and when we are condensed and stagnated in the material thought with no meaning attached to it, it becomes rather crude and violent, which is what we are going through. So, in light of all of this, I've become much more acceptant of the age I live in. Why I chose to become incarnate in this age, well, that still remains a mystery to me. I suppose that there's something I must learn, there's something I must portray of myself, there's something that I have to contribute of myself to this age on preparing us on the road to that Golden Age. Yes, the Golden Age where everything is spiritual, where we are one with God. Being one with God means being close to God, understanding of what God is. Right now, there's a lot of misconception as to what God is, and we can be thankful to thankful might not be the most appropriate word, but thanks to the organized religions, understanding also that they are religions that were formed in the Kali Yuga, in the Iron Age. So they're very, very raw religions, power-oriented, materialistic, dominance. And these religions were quite horrible, and they have now most people, when they hear God, they cringe. And we can thank the religions for that, for our cringing in reaction to the Word of God. But God, I believe, is a good thing. God, I believe, is all things. As all things are alive and all things are to do with God, all things are God. Now, the Golden Age is when we are one with God and with our spirituality. And right now in the Bronze Age, we're on the path to that. And, well, we still have the thought. We're in the age of thought now in the Bronze Age. And thought isn't exactly spirituality. Spirituality, for those of you that meditate, you would know that meditation involves the doing away with thought and concentrating on the feeling of being. They say to concentrate on your breath and on the feeling of being. And, well, why would you want to do away with thought? Thought is a very constructive thing. Thought is what we base our constructive activities in this existence. Well, thought is also limiting to the deep inner purpose. Thought, we're in the age of thought now in the Bronze Age, which is where we have the internet and everybody exchanging opinions. But thought without deeper inner meaning to sort of give it a direction can be just as violent and as destructive as it can be creative and beneficial. So in the age of thought, the Bronze Age, it is very important for us to keep an eye on that Golden Age, to keep an eye on meaning, on deeper significance to existence. And I suppose that the deepest significance to existence, most of us all know, all is one. Everything is connected. And, well, to give you that Big Bang analogy, according to the scientists, everything that exists in the universe came out of a small particle the size of a pea. That is how much we are one. And this unifying feeling that exists is what we should concentrate on. We should concentrate on our diversity is the magic that has resulted from this experience. Our diversity, which is what divides us and causes us to be violent with one another, that we are different. We have different opinions. We refuse to understand others' opinions. We only want to listen to ourselves. We only want to listen to ourselves and our own opinions, and we want to believe we are right, that we have the opinion that is the correct one, while all other opinions are incorrect. And if we are to believe that we are all one, we must believe that all opinion is valid. Everyone's opinion is valid, even if it's contradictory to your opinion. A contradiction is something that exists, and a contradiction has its purpose too. If for those of you who have studied hermeneutics, you would know from the law of polarity, everything has its opposite. And I find that when I am debating with someone who has a contradictory opinion to my own, I find that I become much more enlightened into my own beliefs by having the opposing forces of my beliefs contradict them. I dig deeper into my beliefs, and I come up with my most revelatory sort of significances. My most revelatory meanings come out of when I am in opposition. So opposition does have a positive side. If we think of this mentality in a win-lose situation, we lose all the benefit that we can gain from a situation where you are debating with someone who is not a like mind. And this, I believe, in the age we live in, now in the age of information, is one of the most important sort of outlooks we could have. Not to deny the opposite view of our own view, but to try to enrich ourselves in contrast to it. Contrast is a beautiful thing. Contrast makes art wonderful, and contrast can make our daily lives, in the richness of our variety, because there are an immense amount of views. Any of you who surf the internet and are a little adventurous in your endeavors will know that there's an opinion and a side to everything, and it's contradictions on there, and everything's all over the place. And well, I think this is a good thing. It's a dividing thing. It depends on how we take to it. If we take to it in the belief that there should only be one opinion, which is ridiculous. It's a very ridiculous sort of an outlook to have. If we take to it like that, then we're only going to get into conflict with everybody, and you're not going to reap much benefit from that sort of a situation. But if you take to it in the openness that there must be different opinions, even those that conflict with your own opinions, even those that try to deny your opinion, when they try to deny you, intellectually, not forcefully, then you have to dig deeper and find reasons for your existence. And then you can return the favor and try to deny them their sort of outlook. But the point is that there be no winners and no losers. Because if there are no winners and no losers, well then everybody wins. And well, back to Moldavite. Moldavite's really quite a magical thing. Serenity, peace. I know that many people say that it will change your life. It will be very radical. They use a lot of scare tactics. And I do suppose that everybody will interact differently with the Moldavite. But in my experience, it has always been very comforting buzz that sometimes is stronger, sometimes is more subtle. But I've always found it a very comforting sort of a feeling that it gives me. And well, what I do with it is I empty out my mind and I meditate with it and I concentrate on the feeling that it gives me. And well, I wouldn't know if there have been sort of more, because they paint a picture of a very drastic life change. And I suppose that things in my own life have gotten a little sort of stormy, and as at sometimes I don't know whether to attribute that to the Moldavite or not, because certain stormy periods in people's lives are, well, they are commonplace every now and again, and these storms, if we know how to accept them and accept the chaos they bring to us, we will be able, out of this chaos, to find new order in a more personalized sort of an environment for us. I mean, life is not all good. If we only had good, without any sort of conflict, without any sort of contradiction, without any sort of contrast, it would be boring, first of all. And second of all, we wouldn't grow. We need the storm in our lives sometimes to find the best of ourselves. And for some, I suppose Moldavite might bring this storm on. In my life, yeah, I would say that there was a bit of a storm sometimes, but I wouldn't consider that to be the most significatory sort of aspect to Moldavite. The most significant aspect I find to Moldavite is the energy, the way it makes me feel. I can sit there with my mind blank for hours, just feeling the energy. And the tranquility that it brings is astounding. Yes. Really solidifies. It really has really solidified me in myself. I don't know if it's possible to say that I am more myself now, or that I am more comfortable with myself, might be more accurate, but definitely so. Anyways, I think that's enough for today. And perhaps I will post another Moldavite video at some other time in the near future. Thank you very much for watching.